Just to begin, I would like to introduce our Vice President for Research and Innovation, Professor Anita Maguire, who will say a few words here on behalf of University College Cork. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary. I'm delighted just to have an opportunity to briefly introduce this presentation this morning. As with all universities, we're very much a research-focused institution, and we recognise that the standing of the university nationally and internationally is very much dependent on the quality and the visibility of our research at an international level. Research is really central to what we do here in University College Cork, and we recognise that looking after our researchers, supporting them as they develop their careers is absolutely critical to our success in research. And in this context, University College Cork was really delighted to embrace the Charter and Code for Researchers and the HR Excellence in Research, as we saw these as really helpful tools to help us in internally developing the environment for researchers within the university. Indeed, we were delighted that University College Cork was the first university in the country to have our HRS4R award renewed in recent years. As part of the HRS4R process, which is led here in UCC by Mary-Kate O'Regan, we've pursued a number of initiatives to really embed the process within the university and ensure that our researchers gain from the experience of being part of a university which embraces HRS4R. So some of these were opportunities for researcher career development at a personal level, the Odyssey programme, which Mary will tell you about later this morning. And we developed a postdoc development hub, which provides a resource for postdocs as they develop their career, professional skills for research leaders initiative, and policy development to support the development of researchers in the university were all steps in the implementation of the University College Cork Action Plan, which we submitted for HRS4R. And on the ground, they've really changed the environment for researchers working here, both for the PIs who are supervising the researchers and for the researchers themselves. It's really enabled high quality environment for the research activity. In parallel with these initiatives, we've also focused on ensuring that researchers are actively integrated into local decision making, local and wider research communities. So in the schools in which they're based, in the college and at university levels, ensuring the voice of researchers is integrated into all steps at those levels is extremely important to ensure the perspective of researchers is fed into our decision making processes. Clearly for University College Cork, European funding through Horizon 2020 and into the future through Horizon Europe is extremely important to our university. We have very ambitious targets for our participation in these activities, not only for the funding that this research, the funding for research which we secure through these awards, but more importantly, the connection it builds for researchers in University College Cork with researchers all over Europe, which really enriches the research ideas and the delivery of research programmes. For us, embracing the HRS4R programme is a key step in preparing our researchers to compete at a European level for the important funding calls which we anticipate into the future. University College Cork really recognises that actively developing our researchers for their future research career is a really important process of providing an environment for research. Researchers go on to be academic researchers, some of them progress into the enterprise sector, some progress into many different areas, but the skills they learn along the way, the project management, communication skills, the ability to assimilate information and organise information, all of those skills are extremely important for them in their future careers. And part of the steps we've taken here is ensuring that researchers obviously maximise the skills they gain, but also know how to articulate those skills and how to communicate them for various opportunities. As a researcher here in University College Cork, I've seen the environment here for researchers really grow through our engagement in the HRS4R process. We've been very fortunate to have Mary-Kate O'Regan leading it here. She's a very innovative leader in this space, and she certainly, managed to change the environment for researchers here in the university. And we frequently hear our researchers coming back acknowledging the steps that were taken and the opportunities that were provided to them through the initiatives that Mary has led here in University College Cork. This has been a really positive journey for us as a research-focused university, and I'm sure it will continue to be into the future. So I'm delighted to hand you over to Mary now.
Thank you very much, Professor. Okay, thank you. Thanks for your time. Um, Good morning, everyone, and welcome to UCC Ireland. And I'm here to talk to you on the topic of how to involve and engage stakeholders and researchers in the HRS4R process. But before I start, I would just really like to thank Lana, Anna, Mihaela, Michelle, and Ciara Murphy here in UCC, who helped me very much with the technology of getting all this together. And of course, all of you who are listening here this morning throughout Europe. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm delighted that you guys are listening. So today, my talk is going to cover what are the advantages of HRS4R, who are the main stakeholders, who are the people that you need to engage with, what are the benefits to your organisation of involving stakeholders in this process, how to engage your stakeholders, right? It's all very well saying, yeah, we have all these stakeholders, but how do you actually really engage people in this process? And some examples, some real examples of what University College Cork did, and some ideas that you can take away, hopefully, and use them in your own organisation. So I was thinking about this presentation, and I was like, where do I start with this? Okay, how do I approach this topic? And for me, the only way to start is by thinking about the advantages that HR Excellence in Research, the Charter and Code, and of course HRS4R bring to the organisation. So at the top of the list, it adds value to funding applications. For instance, an awful lot of the principal investigators in UCC contact me about the training and development that we provide when particularly Marie Curie applications are going in. It demonstrates a commitment to good working conditions and career development for researchers, which of course makes your university much more attractive to good talent coming from other organisations. It promotes this commitment to researchers who may be considering moving to your institution. And of course, one of the big added advantages is if you have the HRS4R award, if you advertise on your Access jobs, this award is placed next to your advert. So that's really, really good. So it brings opportunities to share practice with other award holders. For instance, this event today is a really good way for UCC to share its experience and for you guys to think about this and perhaps share your experiences. It also increases the attractiveness of research careers in Europe, which is really, really important, because through more attractive working conditions and more open, more transparent and merit-based recruitment processes, Europe becomes more competitive. And Europe really needs to build its competitive advantage in the area of research. So, embedding is very, very important. You heard our Vice President for Research there talking about embedding HRS4R within the strategic goals of the organisation. And this really includes improving the quality and impact of research in your organisation, in UCC, and in all organisations and universities throughout Europe. The open, transparent and merit-based recruitment policies speak to the appointment, the development and retention of the best staff in research throughout Europe. And it prepares researchers for wide employability and economic contribution to their own nationalities, their own countries, and to Europe in general. So really, we are, through improving the working conditions, improving the terms and conditions, improving training and development, we are helping to prepare all of our researchers to pursue rewarding careers, both within academia and beyond academia. HRS4R is also a catalyst for change, and it supports cultural change internally. And I'm going to speak a little bit about that later on in my presentation, on how you can actually use HRS4R, use HR Excellence to affect change in your organisation. And of course, it supports internal processes, because when you're doing an action plan based on the gap analysis, based on your surveys, this leads to very useful and helpful conversations about implementation, process evaluation, and also recognising, refining and developing good practice. So this whole HR Excellence in Research leads to these really vital conversations between your peers, between researchers, between all your stakeholders throughout your organisation and throughout Europe, which leads to best practice in how you manage and assist researchers within your own organisation. And this, of course, raises the status of your organisation and helps to improve the perception and the reality that the HR Excellence in Research Award marks your institution as being one of the best. I mean, it really is a wonderful award to have, and it has really raised the profile of UCC, and I have seen it raise the profile of other organisations in Europe also. So here are some examples of the advantages to UCC that the HR Excellence in Research Award and the whole HRS4R process has brought, because really without it we wouldn't have tackled the policy development that we needed to do. We wouldn't probably have engaged in the postdoc development hub. Professional skills for research leaders. We hold a HR researcher conference every year. We provide CV assistance and advice, individual CV assistance and advice to all our researchers. And we have just introduced the Odyssey programme here in UCC. And there is also, of course, this wonderful accolade that we are the first university on the island of Ireland to have our award renewed, and we're very, very proud of that fact here in University College Cork. We have the OTMR policy. We have guidelines for teaching for research staff, which is another positive development because of HR Excellence in Research. We have a career framework policy for research staff, and we have now introduced appointment regulations for senior research staff because of our OTMR policy, and we have uniform job descriptions and job adverts for R2, which is postdocs, senior postdocs, research fellows, R3, and senior research fellows, R4. So all of this information is available on our website, and throughout this presentation you will see links to UCC's website, and I think Lana is going to be sending the presentation to all participants. So please use the links, look them up, use what you wish. It's all there, it's all open, and it's all transparent. And so again, the title is How to Involve and Engage Stakeholders and researchers in the process. And so who are the stakeholders? And for me, the stakeholders are researchers, universities and research institutions, funding providers, the European Commission, of course. Industry and private enterprises are very important employers of researchers, and many of them have actually applied for the HR Excellence in Research Award. And supporting actors, of course, such as national and European Euraccess networks, which is why we are all here today. And it's important to keep all these stakeholders in your mind when you are thinking about how to implement HR Excellence in Research in your own organisation. And of course, the benefits of involving stakeholders are very important. It offers those who will affect or be affected by the outcomes of HRS4R a chance to voice their opinions. So it's very important when you're thinking about HR excellence in research and changes that will come about because of HR excellence in research in your organisation. It's very important that all your stakeholders have the option to voice their opinions. It ensures also that your organisation has greater clarity and a shared way forward amongst its key stakeholders. You need to get a commitment from everyone, and you need to hear what everybody has to say so that you can collegially go forward in a shared way. And it enables your organisation to identify and understand the relationship that stakeholders have with the HRS4R action plan. An action plan must involve everyone. It can't just be a HR action plan. You need to involve researcher groups, you need to involve the offices of research support, you need to involve all the various elements that make your organisation tick. Because in that way, with involvement, you get slowly but surely embedding. It brings people together, stakeholder involvement, to pool knowledge, experience and expertise to co-create solutions for the HRS4R plan. And co-creating solutions is very, very important because people feel that their voice is heard. It helps to build collaborative partnerships within your organisation and new relationships that generate value to the HRS4R process. So things to remember about stakeholders, in my opinion, are you need to be clear and consistent with your communication. You need to agree the engagement required from stakeholders via discussion, as I said, and consultation. And build the HRS4R actions around this engagement. Action owners and timelines, as I have said, are very, very important. Sometimes actions build, actually they quite often build from earlier actions. And so this whole engagement, this whole evolutionary process is very, very important. Don't forget, your stakeholders know the strengths and weaknesses of your organisation from the ground up. And HRS4R is all about highlighting your strengths and addressing your organisation's weaknesses so that you can move forward in a very positive way. And first-hand knowledge of what it takes to deliver your HRS4R initiatives will come from your stakeholders and will come from inclusion of your stakeholders. But okay, I can hear you all saying, yeah, that sounds great, Mary, but how do I actually do it? How do you engage stakeholders in this whole process, in the HR Excellence in Research process? So today I'm going to concentrate on stakeholders, 4 of them. Research, 3 of them actually. Researchers, the hierarchy, people like Professor Anita Maguire, who came in here this morning to give an introduction and to show how important HR excellence in research is to UCC, and the European Commission. For me, those stakeholders, if you keep engagement and involvement with those stakeholders in the first instance, the other stakeholders will become a natural part of what you are doing. So we all love research staff, but they can be very difficult to engage. They may not be too interested in what you're doing. They're always really, really busy. And they do, I know, they ignore my emails, okay? So I have researchers saying to me, oh, Mary, your email went into my spam account, okay? But don't give up. We are all in the same boat. Researchers traditionally, and I say this with love, are very, very hard to engage. So what did I do? What did UCC do? Well, the first thing I did, I remember, was I built a really good website. I made things easy for our research staff to find. There's a link there to our website, so you can click on that when you receive the presentation. So our website, our HR research website, is a platform that shows researchers all the supports that are available to them. It puts out all the forms they need to use within easy reach. It has, this is the form you need, this is who you need to send it to, this is how you fill it in. It showcases all our developments and is transparent, and it's open to all. So all of you can look at it. Anybody who's thinking about coming to UCC can look at our website. Everything is available there. And then I began to introduce training and development programs. These were also actions on our HRS4R action plan. So what happened with these? I began to meet researchers one-to-one. When I was talking to them, I never promised them anything that I couldn't deliver. If they were asking for pay raises, I explained, this is why I cannot give you a pay raise. It's not in my gift. If they were asking for things that cost an awful lot of money because I don't have a huge budget, I would say I can't do this, but this is actually what I can do. And once you explain to people why you can't deliver on something, they begin to believe in what you can deliver it. I provided training on a whole range of skills. I started with postdocs. I then went to senior researchers like research fellows and senior research fellows. I'm doing a research assistance training. So I began to look at all the various levels of research staff within the organisation, and I created bespoke training programs just for them. And these programs were also a mechanism for them to get together and meet one another, because sometimes the researchers can have a very lonely existence in an organisation. They may be in a lab somewhere, they may not be able to meet other researchers. And so having programs, regular training programs, for instance, the Postdoc Development Hub is on a Friday from 10 to 12 every Friday. And if you go there regularly, you meet other postdocs, and there's coffee and cakes as well. So that's actually another good thing that encourages them to come along. So I also do, as I said earlier, a researcher conference. So I do it on really interesting topics. I don't do it on research per se. I do it on the characteristics that are required to be a researcher in 2019 or 2018 or 2020, such as endurance, courage, and I get researchers to talk about these topics. And it's actually proving a very popular event every year, and more researchers are coming every single year. And it's another great way for researchers to meet one another. And it's a lovely way to highlight HR excellence in research at work within the organisation. Another thing I did was I constituted working groups for HR excellence in research. Lots of them. Of course, I have the senior working group, but I also have an awful lot of other working groups on the HR excellence in research action plans, and I speak to them regularly about developments and I get their feedback. So you begin to get cooperation and support from the researchers themselves if you involve them every step of the way. I also provide information sessions on HRS4R and other initiatives, and I invite researchers and the hierarchy to these sessions. Sometimes I'll get the president of UCC to open one of those sessions. Sometimes, like Professor Anita Maguire will open it. Sometimes my boss, the Director of Human Resources, will open it. So it's actually including people, it's including the hierarchy. It's also delivering a message from the hierarchy to our research staff about how important they take HR excellence in research. And of course, I created loads of email groups of people who have completed training. So if I need advice on something that I'm thinking of implementing, I email a certain group and I will turn to them first for their thoughts, for what they believe I could do, what I can change, what I can tweak. All of these are very simple little things to do. They don't cost any money. And I suppose, you know, it's stuff that I learned as I was going along. And of course, UCC introduced a whole load of policies as well, such as the open, transparent and merit-based recruitment policy. So here is an example of researcher engagement. So we did a UCC researcher survey. Out of that survey, 63% of all researchers who answered the survey said that they are willing to participate on school and college committees. So what did that say to me? It said researchers want more involvement with the decisions that affect them. So how do you translate the results of a survey into something that you can actually do and action? So in the center, you see survey results are 63%. What I did was I put that on the agenda of the senior HRS4R working group within the organisation. The group discussed the issue. We discussed possible solutions and challenges to that. And then we have formed an action with an owner and time limit on that action for the action plan. So that's actually, those are the steps. I hope it's clear, but those are the steps that UCC took to actually take a result from the survey, which was feedback from our researchers, stakeholders, and change it into something that they will see that we have actually done something about. So here it is. These are the working group minute notes. So the agenda item was researcher engagement on school and college committees. How do we enable that? The challenges identified were, for us, like each organisation will have their own challenges, but one of the challenges was that researchers may identify with different schools or different colleges due to the multidisciplinary nature of their research. So how do we actually action that? So we felt that a really strong statement of inclusion towards the research community from the hierarchy, and I believe that we will agree at the next meeting, which is happening on the 11th of December, that that statement will come from both the President of UCC and the Vice President for Research in January 2020. that this is something that needs to really happen. And this is building from an earlier action, which was included in our action plan, which stated that researchers need to be on governing body and academic council, and that has been actioned. So that action happened first, but now what we need are more researchers involved in school committees and in academic unit committees so that their voices are heard. So it's a start, it's an opening conversation. It's something that is evolving within UCC, and it takes time for these things to evolve. So you need, what's really important for your researcher stakeholders is you need to demonstrate that you are listening and that you are working to address their issues where you can. And that is very, very important. Here's another example. So another survey result said to us, research support staff wanted a bespoke training program just for them. So an action on our action plan was created regarding research support training, but that was a bit vague to me. So what I did was I did a really short survey for research support assistants actually, and I sent them the survey just to be clear, like what training do you really want? I sent it to about 200 of our research assistants, and they fed back to that. I worked with a team of people under HR Excellence in Research, and we created together a research assistants skills training digital badge, which we just rolled out. And as you can see, our motto was, you say, we listen, we act. So that is, again, building commitment and trust throughout the organisation. And as you can see, I hope you can see the HR Excellence in Research logo is actually included in the digital badge, which of course is an example of embedding HR Excellence in Research within our organisation here in UCC. And then of course there's the hierarchy of your organisation and HR Excellence in Research. And of course they want HRS4R for your organisation. They need you to do the work. They probably don't have any resources to support you, which is the case here in UCC. I don't have a huge budget to do all the stuff that I'd really like to do. So I depend on the kindness of my colleagues to assist me. And the hierarchy are very, very busy. And you are probably the real leader of HRS4R in your organisation. And of course, that leads me just very quickly to you and HRS4R. You may feel frustrated sometimes. You may feel lonely. You may feel that you're getting nowhere. You may think that no one is listening. Sometimes I feel like that. And we all feel like that sometimes. And that is why the hierarchy in your organisation are very, very important. Start with the big picture. Don't get too specific. When you're talking to the hierarchy, think about talking to them in bullet points. Understand that they don't know it all. They know that it's good for the organisation, but they may not understand the nuances of the work. They won't understand about the forms that need to be filled in and all of that. That's your role. Make them look good. Small, easy wins first. Low-hanging fruit. And ask them to send out an email about something. If you're implementing something new as a direct result of HR excellence and research in your organisation, ask your Vice President for Research to send the email with the HR Excellence and Research logo on it. Or ask the Chancellor or the President or whoever. Ask them to send it out. It brings them into the picture. Ask them to put HRS4R logo on their emails all the time. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I know, for instance, that my colleagues here in Human Resources all use the HR Excellence and Research logo. And that is really important. It's sending a message. Keep the hierarchy updated on your progress. Let them know that you are achieving things. Ensure that the HRS4R supports and is included in your institutional strategy. Now that is easier said than done, and I'm going to get back to that in just 1 second. Include a member or even 2 members of your senior management team in the HRS4R advisory lead working group or whatever you call it in your organisation. Make sure you have somebody from your top table in that group. How this works in practice. How do you get HRS4R included in your organisation's strategic plan? Well, this is how I did it. UCC was preparing for the renewal phase. I knew that embedding and ambition are key to this stage of the process. I highlighted this to my HRS4R working group in terms of risk to the university. What if we lost the award? I mean, that would be absolutely dreadful. The working group ensured that research careers and HRS4R made it into UCC's strategic plan because I had prepped them, I knew what was coming, and I told them the importance of getting this into our strategic plan, because not only is it telling the hierarchy a message, it is also telling the researchers in our organisation that we take this extremely seriously. Here's an example of UCC's strategic plan. You can look it up, it's there, it's on our website from 2017 to 2022. So you can see here in 2013, UCC was conferred with the HR Excellence and Research Board. And then further on it says, we want to improve the international profile of UCC as a centre of excellence for research training and ensuring that UCC is a location of choice for internationally competitive junior and senior researchers. And then even more, implementing career progression structures, provide a dynamic and supportive research environment, and of course, develop improved career structures for our researchers. So that was a really good and important statement. And in our action plan, I was able to put a link to UCC's strategic plan and the pages that all of these were included on to say that yes, we are embedding this within our organisation. So remember to define the role your hierarchy has throughout the project evolution. Give them actions, make them committee members, etc. Maintain close communication and if necessary flag certain issues with them, but don't overburden them. Demonstrate to them the importance of HRS4R within the context of your organisation and demonstrate the impact. I mean the return on investment. The HRS4R action plan can be part of the organisation's strategy, and the hierarchy are critical for institutional buy-in. And it was really important for me to include and get buy-in from our hierarchy so that HR excellence in research made it into our strategic plan. You just saw Anita Maguire earlier. This is a picture of Anita Maguire, our professor and Vice President for Research and Innovation, that went everywhere when our HR Excellence in Research Award was renewed. We were absolutely delighted, and so was she. So here is an example of engagement between the hierarchy and researchers. So again, many researchers in UCC do not have anyone to advise them on career development. So this became an action in our action plan, which came from the results of a survey, and it also came from the results of some of the focus groups and the HR Excellence in Research groups that I had with research staff throughout the organisation. So we introduced the UCC Odyssey programme. I had to get buy-in from the top, and researchers wanted it. I included the hierarchy in every step of this particular programme, and I engaged our researchers in focus groups, many focus groups. It takes an awful lot of time. And it was delivered, and the hierarchy got their return on investment. And I'm not talking constantly about money here. The return on investment at times can be their time, can be their effort. The Irish Times on the 12th of November put this article out, which made our hierarchy look really good. It made UCC look good in Ireland. And here is a quote: "Few, if any, higher education institutes have been brave enough to tell the truth about the nearly insurmountable pathway between PhD and academic career. But in UCC, the whole institution, including the President and Vice President for Research, have supported Odyssey." And that is an example of bringing together your hierarchy, who you need to enable you to bring in change, to bring in new programs, and your researchers who will avail of these programs. And that is when things begin to come together, when things align. And so that was very important for UCC, because the Irish Times educational section is read all over Ireland. It's a really important publication here. It's our national daily paper. So if in doubt about your hierarchy, use the advantages I included in the earlier part of this presentation to persuade them how critical HRS4R is to your organisation. Again, Lana, I'm sure will be sending this out to you. Please use all the arguments and come up with your own arguments so that you can sit down and discuss with your hierarchy how important it is to have HR excellence in research and how important it is to embed HR excellence in research within your organisation. So the third group of stakeholders I want to talk about are the European Commission. And of course, they are so important. So get involved, go to training and development workshops that they provide in Brussels and in other countries. There you will meet like-minded colleagues at training sessions and events. And you can reach out and share best practice. It's a really great reason to go to these particular events, because you find out what other people are doing in other countries, in other organisations, and you can say, oh yeah, that might work for us, but if we changed it a little bit, and all of that. Get to know the EC HRS4R team. It's really important to get to know them. Become an assessor. Go to the training for assessors. You know, it's really, really interesting. You see what is happening all over Europe, and it's really, really rewarding to see other organisations progress within this whole area. And keep the HR Excellence in Research flag flying. And there it is. And that is what this is all about. It's about spreading the knowledge, spreading the goodwill, spreading the best practice, and enabling other organisations to benefit from this wonderful, wonderful programme. So here's an example of UCC engagement with the European Commission, who I believe is one of our stakeholders and really is one of our very important stakeholders. So I am a lead assessor for the European Commission. I present on behalf of the European Commission. I'm doing it today for Euraccess, but I know that the European Commission were instrumental in that. I train other assessors for the Commission. I visit different countries, which is wonderful. Hopefully some of you are listening and looking in today to enable individual universities and organisations. And I help to develop best practice in UCC and within the Commission, in some of the groups that I'm involved in, to enable other organisations to succeed. And of course, I run an annual HRS4R masterclass here in UCC every April, and it's going ahead in April this year on the 28th and 29th, I think, of April. But I thought, you know, this is something that is so important. So what I call it is UCC Gives Back. So my organisation enables me to give of my time to help other universities to succeed. And that's something that I think is very, very important. And so now it is an action on the UCC action plan. And there's a link there, UCC Gives Back. You can take a look at that link and it may start your thoughts rolling as well. But that's the European Commission are enabling me. UCC is enabling me. I am helping other organisations. So it's like this continuous circle of improvement. And it's really, really wonderful to be involved in such a thing. So with HR Excellence in Research, really what you are building in your organisation is trust. Trust from the researchers, trust from your hierarchy, and trust with regards to the European Commission. So it's building this trust that this is a very powerful and rewarding programme within your organisation that touches on so many lives, really. And what's important to me? Well, of course, the Charter and Code, and all the HR Excellence in Research policy that is available actually on their website. Working closely with the European Commission and other member states, the HR Excellence in Research working groups and action plans, and the terms of reference for our highest HR Excellence in Research working group. That is really, really important. You can click on that and take a look at what we put together, because it's a framework for progressing the work of the group within the organisation. And it's actually, I have found it to be a really important document for me and really helps me when I'm trying to implement HRS4R within UCC. But really, for me, the researchers are the most important. And I think if you help your researchers, you can't go too far wrong. And if you help them, and if that is the case and they know it, they will engage with you. They will, because I have found that to be the case. But don't forget, be kind to yourself. Be patient. This doesn't happen overnight. Good things take time. I'm a lead assessor. I look at the development of this through organisations throughout Europe. I understand where people are at the starting point. And we understand that this takes a lot of time because good things take time, and HR excellence in research is a good thing, and it's an evolving process. So be good to yourself, and it's really well worth it. And I hope I have demonstrated that through the examples that I have given. By the way, don't hesitate to tweet. My Twitter handle is @MaryKateUCC, so please don't hesitate to tweet about this if you wish. And it just leaves me to say Merry Christmas. Now, I had to look at all the different countries. I don't know if I have all of you, but here are some that I could find from all the various countries that are tuning in today. And I hope I haven't forgotten, and I hope I haven't made some sort of terrible mistake in translation, but I hope not. And here you go. And Merry Christmas to you all, and Happy New Year. And you probably all have my email address. I know Lana said if you have any questions, you can contact her, but please, I'm also here to help you on your way. And it just leaves me to say, there's everybody, I think. Gurv Míle Mágat, which means thank you very much in the Irish language. And it's been such a pleasure for me today. And I hope you have enjoyed this podcast, and I hope it was interesting and helpful to you. So thank you very, very much.